Your kids' cravings aren't theirs, they're engineered, and I can prove it because I spent 10 years as the perfect target. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how the big food manufacturers hijacked your reward system and how to protect your kids from this manipulation before it's too late. Here's what I learned as a Marine combat hunter trainer. The same psychological warfare tactics we use to identify enemy predators, yeah, those ones, yeah, every major food corporation uses them on your family right now. I have the perfect target story, right? I went vegan overnight in the last 6 months as a Marine. No rhyme, no reason. Did it because I was bored. Just complete ideological capture. And I didn't just fall for it myself. I convinced my wife and my child to go with me, right? For 7 years, I ate processed everything. Beyond Burgers, Impossible Burgers, you name it. I was completely convinced they were basically the same nutritionally and taste-wise as real meat. But now I know they're not. I defended them to anyone who questioned it. And if you're currently defending Beyond Burgers in your head right now, drop a burger emoji in the comments. I see you. I was you. 9 years in, I finally decided to try keto after researching metabolic dysfunction and learning that carbs weren't all that great for humans. That's when I discovered I'd gained 30 pounds I didn't even know I had. I had constant bloating and I ate copious amounts of nut butters and processed plant foods. I thought it was just normal, right? But here's what I realized, and you might have this same revelation down the road. The problem wasn't being vegan, it was eating anything altered by humans. It's just not normal. Factory farmed meat is just as unnatural as a Beyond Burger. Both are extreme departures from what nature provides. As I researched human nutrition, I had this awakening about what it actually means to be natural. God grew everything we need, whether plants or animals, in their default form. What we do now is take those perfect designs and process them into something completely different. The Marine Corps built me in the crucible to have grit and resilience. But for 10 years, I'd been training my brain to accept synthetic satisfaction, whether it came from a lab or a factory farm. I was the perfect customer. I was convinced I was making conscious choices while getting sicker and spreading that thinking to the people that I cared about the most. Keep eating whatever works for you, but understand that processed is processed, whether it's plant-based or not. Okay? I had a real awakening. That's what I'm going to call it, because that's what it was. During my Marine Corps infantry training as a combat hunter trainer, I learned to track predatory behavior, the patterns, how predators select targets, establish different patterns, and exploit vulnerabilities. One day, our instructor said something that changed everything. The most effective predators don't attack their prey directly. They manipulate the environment until the prey walks willingly into that trap. That night, I had a moment where I connected the dots. The nut butters, the pizza, the energy drinks, all the constant bloating I had been normalized in my mind. I hadn't even been choosing. I'd been walking willingly into their trap. These big food corporations operate exactly like enemy combatants. They study your behavior, exploit your vulnerabilities, and turn your survival instincts against you. The only difference, the one difference, they're targeting your children instead of soldiers, instead of people on a battlefield, right? Here's what big food doesn't want parents to understand. The brains in your children operate on the same reward systems casinos use to create gambling addicts. It's the same biological imperatives. When you buy organic goldfish crackers thinking you're protecting your kids, the same engineered crunch, the same addictive salt levels, the same dopamine manipulation, just wrapped in virtuous packaging. Your children get the identical neurochemical hit, right, that a same addict would at the casino in Las Vegas. But now, you feel like a responsible parent while feeding them an addiction. Corporate food scientists manufacture your family's cravings and your children's definition of what actually is a treat. Look at the language your kids hear. Plant-based meat, better-for-you snacks, guilt-free treats, right? Food marketers aren't describing food. They're programming your children's association with satisfaction and reward. An apple used to be a treat. Find a child who thinks an apple is still a treat. Once food corporations control how your children think about food, they're going to control what your family will pay for generations. Now, years later, while I was working in asset protection, I watched the same psychological patterns play out in a completely different context. I'd see people rationalize theft while completely convinced they were protecting their families. They'd create these elaborate stories all up in the ether, the mental frameworks and gymnastics to avoid facing what they were actually doing. One case in particular stands out, a lot of them really, where people would steal energy drinks and they were justified because they charged too much for something that somebody in their family needs, like an energy drink. The rationalization was perfect. They transformed theft into virtue in their mind. And that's when I had this realization about the big food companies and how they steal your reward system to profit from your love. The same psychological manipulation, it's a different target. They create the craving in your children, offer the relief through products, and then convince you that buying those products makes you a good parent. It's a protection racket targeting your family's neurochemistry. And just like that person who I stopped, parents rationalize feeding their kids processed alternatives, all while feeling virtuous about their choices. But here's what your ancestors knew, and what I'm going to try to teach you, right? What your family has forgotten. Satisfaction comes from effort. It doesn't come from convenience. Families work together to track prey across miles until it collapsed from exhaustion. Children learned persistence. Parents taught strategy. Families survived through collective competence. Your family's reward system, it used to be calibrated for real challenges and shared achievements and meaningful consequences. But those big food scientists, they have domesticated your household. They fed your children dopamine pellets through screens and packaging and all the colorful labeling. And now your kids' reward systems fire for notifications instead of accomplishments, flavors instead of nourishment. Every fake hit you eliminate from your home creates space for real family satisfaction. This isn't deprivation, it's restoration of what families are supposed to experience together. Real, natural experiences in the real world. What I want you guys to take away is everything is diesel. Everything connects back to what I told you in the first video, the second video, the third video, and what I'm going to keep preaching. Rebranding is not repentance. The same corporations that taught you to trust their family-friendly labels are the ones that engineered your household's dependency. Food conglomerates didn't change their methods. They won't do it. They're not going to do it. They changed their marketing to target parental love. The same addiction science, different emotional triggers. Whether it's natural flavors on your kids' snacks or organic on family cereals, it's all designed to make you feel better about feeding your family the worst choices possible. Big food has monetized your parental instincts and turned your desire to protect your children into their revenue stream. And the sicker and more confused your family gets, the more products manufacturers can sell you to fix the problems they created in your household in the first place. Remember, everything is diesel. It all feeds the same machine. So here's my call to action for you. I've been on both sides of this system. 10 years as the perfect customer, completely convinced I was making enlightened choices for my future and my family while my health suffered. I spent 4 years learning to spot predatory behavior pattern and years of watching people rationalize harmful choices while convinced they were protecting their families. All these patterns, they're exactly identical. Families surrendering their agency, all while believing that they're protecting their children. Your family's dopamine is being farmed. The feel-good chemicals in your brain that you need to survive. Your children's attention, it's being harvested. Your household's confusion is being cultivated. And every time you try to solve a problem using Big Food's family-friendly solutions, you're just feeding that system and targeting your kids. Stop trying to optimize your family's choices within their framework. The game itself is rigged against your household. Remember, they've planned ahead, so you have to as well. Real family freedom starts when you refuse to play by corporate food manufacturers' rules entirely. If you want to understand how deep this goes, how these big corporations have hijacked your family's sleep cycles, your children's stress responses, even your household's sense of time to keep everyone just functional, to keep consuming, watch this next video, because what I'm about to show you about industrial sleep manipulation, that's going to make the dopamine hijacking look like children's play. The fight for your family's mind, it's just getting started. Thanks for watching.